Hey. Okay, now I think it's working. At least I'm getting some feedback over here. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Seems to be good. How about the sound? All right. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah. All right. I think we're pretty good to go. So let's just swap over here. And yeah. So we'll try to. I'll do a little bit of an introduction again. It's my third stream. Thank you for joining in. I'm Mike. Um, I'm a visual effects artist. I'm also a filmmaker, and yeah, I've been having my own company for quite some time now. I think around 6 years or something. So survived the COVID situation and everything. And yeah, it's been a little bit of a strange ride the last 6 years, but it's been interesting nonetheless as a filmmaker, and yeah, just learning how to run a company even. I come from an artist and animation background, so anything business wise and company wise and all these type of things are not my strong suits at all, but I feel like I have a pretty good handle on it, as an artist at least. But yeah, so I'm doing this stream series for now, which are I'm working on an indie film called Basilio y el Mar. It's a Spanish film, and it's pretty cool because I get to share it. And so we were actually working out a course for it where we try and still figure it out how to do it, because a course, like trying to figure out the level, I think we would do like a very beginner friendly course to compositing and VFX for the film. And then, yeah, we do it. Maybe we're talking about like 6 weeks period. We're still trying to figure it out. And I think it will be in Spanish as well. So, but yeah, we still trying to figure things out. So there's some paperwork and some meetings that we need to sort of still have in order to figure all this stuff out. But for now, I'm just streaming. Actually, just me working on the film, and it's a very chill work stream. But I'll keep the conversation open and the streams to anyone who comes from a production background or VFX background, or you're getting into VFX or anything like that. Like if you have any questions about uh, getting into the industry or how to work with this and that, and like anything that comes to mind, just ask away and I'll try to answer the best way possible. But it is really just me working, so it's a lot of me mumbling and just having just enjoying myself working on this, really. So yeah, apart from that, I think I managed to find some an very old show reel. In case you're wondering what I worked on, I'll make sure to share that so you get a little bit of a glimpse on the stuff that I worked on. So let's see. That should be able to see my screen now, and then we have this. So this is my it's an old show reel, so this hasn't been updated since 2018, right? So it's quite old. The reason why I sort of stopped making and updating my show reel was because right at 18, I started my company. So that's kind of like where I sort of stopped being an artist, and sort of like all the work that I did after 18 has sort of been through the company, and so yeah, and I just basically just been having so much work that I through my network and people that I know and so on, that I haven't had the need to update my show reel, but I should really do it. But just in case you were wondering, like what sort of stuff that I've done, so this is for yeah, Ninja Turtles. So yeah, there's no like a breakdown on this. So yeah, so it's hard to get, I guess, an idea of what has been done on these shots. But like, for example, on some of these shots, we changed the color of the bombs, and there were like some reflections of the camera and the cars that has been removed. There was like, I think, cranes in the background that has been removed as well. That was holding these lights on the highway. People watching on the background, stuff like that. Here, it's more obvious, like compositing in the robot. Here, I think it was car removals, and there's like a big metal wall here in the back. That's a little bit hard to see in this format. Again, here's like a dystopian city, a destroyed LA in the back, a metal wall that has been put in. And for this one, there was like a train running in the back of the train station here that was removed. And so recreating the heat distortion and all that stuff on this end. And yeah, a lot of stuff for the 100. I think I worked on 2 seasons for the 100, I think. It was a big show at the time. So like green screen removal, that type of thing. So yeah, it's not laser stuff and explosions, typical VFX stuff. So that's the show reel, and then I have the reason why I stopped. Not stopped, but the reason I actually created a company was because I made a documentary film. And let me see if I can find, I think I had it here. So I made this documentary film while I was in Canada. And this is sort of my something that I'm very proud of, because at the time we made a documentary film with no budget, and it had a huge impact on the community. And yeah, I'm super happy about this.
It is much more than an art gallery.
A vision is always bigger than the individual, and what Tor and Doherty have created here should be a lasting legacy.
The culture, the work, the heart that has come into this building, I can't express it. It's too enormous.
Environmental movements, the idea of celebrating nature, not just through art, but through thoughtfulness, through science. It's immeasurable what something like the Brackendale Art Gallery is for a community like Squamish. It's profound.
I kept doing that close to heart idea.
He's inspirational. You don't create something like this without having something really uniquely special about you.
And that was the beginning of the Brackendale Art Gallery.
Unfortunately, the documentary is not available at any place right now, because there's been a lot of change of licensing and rules right now, so that we have to sort of review and get it up and running on some platforms again for people to watch. But basically, that's sort of a little glimpse into a lot of the work that I'm done. And what I've been working with for the past many years. And right now I'm working with this awesome film called Basilio y el Mar, which is a indie film. I had a small budget for it, and I'm doing the VFX for it, and they have 30 something shots to do, and yeah, I think that's pretty much sort of like an overview, an introduction to these streams. And as I said at the beginning, this is not a tutorial or anything like that. It's just me actually just working, and then hopefully chatting with people throughout the stream if they have any questions about any aspects of filmmaking, and yeah, so hopefully we can keep it quite chill. I'll put some working music on, and let's see, hopefully it's not too distracting. All right. So on Friday, I roughly got into the shot, and it was quite cool. So let's take a look at what's happening here. So for this shot, they want like more rocks and depth in the background, and so I'm just adding in some interesting shapes in the mist to make this short more interesting. And so it's just I did a very rough block out of the sort of the composition of it, and yeah, still trying to figure out like how I want stuff to look, and the silhouette of these rocks basically. And so this rock is really popping out to me right now, so I'll probably start with that one. That was the first one that I put in. Maybe I'll start chopping it out. Let me just check the stream on Twitch in case anybody's watching over there. There we go. Now I got the chat open. All right. So I think I'd like to to change the silhouette of the rock. I guess here. Yeah, let's do it here. It's not the best way to place it, but let's just put it there. Oops. Pay really attention into the silhouette here, so I'm just gonna boost this up a bit. So basically, yeah, I'm just painting in the silhouette here. think I'm gonna maybe clone some of this. Oh yeah, I can't do that with a stencil, but basically not too happy about like this dark patch that I have around that is like here. It feels like a very harsh line. So try to see if I can make another paint node here where I try to sort of break that black line basically. Again, if you're popping in the stream and it's if you have any curiosities about the film industry, documentary filmmaking, short films, VFX, anything like that, please just let me know, and then we can try to have some conversations about it. You know, I think like the VFX industry it's a little bit of a tricky thing and a and a beast to talk about, I guess, because there are so many controversies about it, but also I think there's so much love for it. So it's a tricky one, and it's also a super tricky industry, an industry that sort of how do you say that, like inflates, I guess, a lot, right? Like depending on projects and stuff like that, like a lot of the times there would be like a period of time where all the studios are like hiring thousands of artists, and then all of a sudden, everybody gets fired at the same time, or like, not everybody, but like most of it gets let go because then, huge projects has been finished and so on. So like, and then there's like nothing coming for a while. Or they also, like, the industry sort of moves from country to country sometimes because of tax breaks and whatnot for huge films, right? So there's a lot of different things that it's hard to sort of like keep track of, and it's a lot of stuff that you don't really think about too much. And I think a lot of people are try and to find a what do you call it, like a stable contract, I guess, within companies and studios, but it's a pretty hard thing and rare thing to find, and also might not suit everyone. But I think also you can watch that as the negatives, but you can also see that as the positives, right? Like I know, like I had a few friends that use that as a huge benefit if you like to travel around the world and work. Like they've been able to like jump from country to country and try to live in different countries for a couple of years and have very varied work as well and stuff like that. So that's also something that you like to do. It's I think that's where you can use it to your advantage, but it really depends on like what kind of life you want to have, right? Like if you can take advantage of it or not. But those are like life choices, I guess, and very subjective from people to people, right? So So let's see. That's much better. So the stone was looking like that before, and now it looks like this. Yeah, much better. I don't know if I should add one more. So let's, yeah, take a look at this shot. I'm thinking about maybe adding something like in between these two, but then we have, let me do, let's go into this one, just my sketch note here. But we have like this in the foreground that are very readable, right? Like these ones. And then we have this in the midground. And yeah, we have these in the background, which is great. You know, we have like big shapes here. So I think like it does feel like a little empty to me, like here. So I'm wondering if we can maybe do something like that. You know, something. I mean, that's not too bad. I think I would like that. So let's try that. So we got this here, and I want it basically in between these two. Buenos días. I'm glad you could make it for the stream. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, please. Yeah, if there's more Spanish speaking in the chat, please let me know. También podemos hablar español si quieren. O si es más informativo, pero el tema con español es que muchas de las cosas que son técnicas me cuesta seguramente encontrar la palabra, pero también puedo explicar muchas de las cosas en español si hace falta. But let's keep this stream mostly English, unless there are Spanish speaking in the chats. Yeah. So let's see. I was putting in, I think, a mountain here in the back. Here, like that, right? So I think I have this big shape. Oh, delete that. So I'm gonna take the same shape actually. Take this one, put it in here. I heard something about mobility when I logged in. Bueno, me preguntaba si habías hecho el segundo stream en español. Ah, todavía no lo he hecho en español todavía. Pero capaz que we can keep it multi-language, this one. Have it a little bit of Spanglish and and No, pero todavía no lo he hecho en español. Em, pero si lo que están mirando hablan español ahorita mismo, estoy justamente... tengo que hablar con el director estamos hablando sobre hacer un pequeño curso sobre también la película, pero también un curso que es un poquito más como introductivo para compositing, ¿no? Y cómo trabajar con VFX y cosas así. Así que si estás interesado, sabes, si no tienes mucha experiencia o no sabes mucho sobre compositing o VFX, capaz que puede ser como un buen curso para aprender un poquito más, o sí, para hacerte una mejor idea, pero todavía es algo que estamos hablando y montando, así que no tengo nada concreto por el momento, pero el momento que ya sepamos una fecha y el curso y los formatos, voy a hacer un pequeño vídeo, lo subo aquí en el channel para que sepan cuándo pasará el curso. Pero sí, por el momento todavía estamos investigando las opciones y cómo hacerlo. So let's see, I wanted to put this like a rock formation like around, I wanted to feel, something like this. And sorry, I'll shut down Steam here. I don't know why it's even open, so you don't get too many notifications popping up. Sorry about that. Yeah, so something like this, and then let's try to then shape the silhouette of this rock. I'm just gonna erase most of this, just using this as a guideline. I'll remove this and work on the silhouette. Yeah, a little bit more love and work here. Maybe something like that. I actually kind of like this shot because it's a quite simple thing to do, right? Like to enhance the shot, like like I think I managed to spend like around 15 minutes last stream on this, and then I don't think it would take like many hours to get it to a point where it feels like quite enhanced, or like better from what it was. And I think like that's always, I think, quite it's like quite satisfactory. Is that what you call it? Or like where you do an effect that didn't take too long to do, and then you get like the results or the feedback quite fast. And I think that's quite nice because working with the effects sometimes, like working on huge shots, or like I was showing in my show reel before, like there was a shot that are like maybe 70 frames, right? And it goes like that, like it's super fast, and you will never ever see what has been done on the shot, right? Like but it's like a lot of like reflection removal on the cars and all this stuff, and a lot of that stuff took like months to work on, right? And you keep watching the same frames, and you go a little bit like blind in the shot. So that's why it's always nice to like also jump between shots just to keep your eyes refreshed. But yeah, some shots just are super dragged out, if you will, right? And then that satisfaction of like, you did an effect that you don't feel the spark of the creative work anymore, like once you have worked on it for many months, right? Or weeks even. So like so something like this is like, I think it's super fun because like it's just about playing with silhouettes and atmospheric depth, and you get to sort of create something quite fast in the shot that doesn't take like 3D and rendering and all these type of things, right? So let's see, I think so. I'm just gonna see, yeah, so I have this one coming in and this one, and I want that in the foreground. So basically I wanna just see if I can stencil this here. Say stencil, and then we cut out that overlapping shape, and then I want to push this one back even further so it feels like a stone that is even further in the back, maybe like 2, and then maybe this one here we can push that maybe into maybe 0.6 or something like that. So that's pretty cool. So let's take a look with, so that's the shot before and after. Let's see how it looks when it's moving. So if it's your first time in the stream, welcome again. I'm Mike. I'm a filmmaker and a visual effects artist. So I've done a lot of different things, and yeah, if you have any questions about any aspect of filmmaking, I could probably answer a lot of it. I'm not necessarily an expert in all fields, but yeah, I consider myself sort of a jack of all trades person, and I tried a lot of different things. And so if you have any questions, just please ask away. And and then yeah, we'll see if it's something I could answer. Yeah, I really like this. Actually, I think so. I think what I would do now, I would probably take this patch of grass, like over here, like this moss that is like growing on top of the rocks, and I'll try to see if I can add a little bit to the like, maybe up here, right? Like this feels a little bit green, so maybe like adding a little bit of those moss on top of those rocks. Maybe this one and up here, maybe also clean up this edge a little bit here. That would be sort of like the minor detail stuff, right? So let's create a new dot here. To have a look at it. Could be easier to actually just paint the straws. I don't necessarily have to take these, but you know, I get like some color and stuff for free if I take this. And then maybe key it out. Key the key it maybe something like this. So let's key it first. And then we isolate it, and then also let's frame hold it. Am I watching through? Okay, yeah, it's like something like that. Then let's mask that. Then we could pre-mold, but I think I have to sort of reverse the key. Which is, yeah, something like that. Yeah, let's try, see how that looks. Put that on top of that one, which is this. Let's see if we can improve this key a bit. Now it's almost really not noticeable, but you know, small details they get their place. I'll try to paint this in a bit, I think. Trying to mix this. It's so subtle. So it's almost not really you almost don't even notice it. But you know, now there's a little bit of grass on the top of that rock. I think it might have been easier to just paint tiny straws of grass, really. Just let's see how that would. No, I would have to create it on a different branch, but. So actually one of the beauties about working with VFX as well, like that always stuck with me is like I don't know if you ever painted, right? But like if you ask the two different artists to paint a dog, they will paint two different things. And the same with AI actually, right? Like if you say like, hey, AI, like you ask it to generate just a dog, it will come up with different dogs, right? So, and sort of like the same applies to the sort of like the how you handle the notes and how you fix a problem. There's never like a right answer, right? Like as long as the shot works, it works, you know. Like it doesn't really matter how you sort of got there. For the most part, there are some things that you want to sort of keep in mind once you sort of work with stuff, is to have sort of a good methodology. So you know, just try to not be destructive in your workflow. So like a lot of the times especially working on film, right? Like I think working on big movies, you get to sort of like very early in the process, you work with a shot and you do sort of a very temporarily sort of effect, or you know, just to have something for the client to review. And a lot of the times you would do something fast and effective, but you know, maybe next week you get like an updated element for it, then you have to update the shot and so on. And so you keep iterating on this stuff, and you sort of have to keep it in mind, like, okay, you know, I have to do something fast but also not so destructive that you have to redo the shot like later on, right? So I think like that having a non-destructive workflow, it's super healthy. But then with that in mind, it's also, you know, like I think how you fix a shot, it's really up to the artist and people. And I think that's something that is super cool to do, right? And I think also it's so dependent on time and deadline as well, right? Like I think like if you have more time, you're able to do generally better work, right? Like so like if you had a very tight deadline on a project, usually that work wouldn't be good, because it's also, it's like I don't know if you ever seen that meme where there's like I think there's like 3 different drawings, like saying like me drawing Spider-Man in 1 second, me drawing Spider-Man on 30 seconds, and me drawing Spider-Man in a minute or something like that. But then you kind of like see, like, sure, you can finish Spider-Man in a second, but it will be like a ball basically, right? and it wouldn't be great. So like usually the more time you get, the better the work looks. But you know, there's also like I guess like a golden threshold that it's really hard to sort of know when you hit sometimes, and it's kind of like, when is work good enough, you know? And I think as an artist, I definitely, it's something that you struggle with a lot, and I definitely struggled with that a lot in the beginning, sort of like reaching this perfectionism, if you will. So like you want to keep working on it, and you never sort of like feel it's good enough. But then I find myself going for the 80-20 rule, where I say like I'm trying to take the shots to 80% as fast as possible, and then you can sort of mingle between all the details and the last section of it, but you already like 80% there. So if you had to deliver the shot tomorrow, if this would go to the cinema now, it's like, oh my god, okay, you know, it works. It's there, and you can actually make it work, right? So that's why it's incredibly important to work with the 80-20 rule. So like trying to get it, most of it there, and then, you know, because those last 20% is what takes the most time, and usually it would only be sort of the artist or the experts that's able to see those 20%. But as a regular audience, you don't really see that sometimes. And so yeah, so it's a you know, interesting thing to to keep in mind. At least it helps me a lot to push shots forward as fast as possible, and then, you know, work with the details after, basically. But yeah, I think it's the meme is like I don't even know what it's called, but it's something about drawing Spider-Man in different time sections. Looking. Edith, are you downloading the shots now? I don't know if you had tried to download the new zipped files. Okay, I think this rock over here is standing out a bit, and also like the density of the grass here is a little bit off, so I have to sort of bring that a little bit closer, but maybe I think it will get fixed if I take this down in the atmosphere, maybe down to 45. How does that look? Yeah, a little bit better. I think the grass is a little bit like, it's a little bit too transparent-ish, or pushed a little bit further back than the actual rock. So I think I will, oops, wrong. It's coming in here. Maybe, actually, I'll take a color note here and I'll try to push the contrast of it a little bit, and darken it. Yeah. Maybe I went too far. 0.1. Yeah, it's tiny difference, but I feel like it helped it a little bit. Yeah, I think it's looking pretty great. Cool. I just read your message that you're downloading right now. Let's hope it works. You know, as a first version, I'm kind of liking this, and then yeah, I'm curious to hear what the director what he thinks about it. Yeah, I'm liking this shot a lot. So let's see, I had another one open which is something similar that I worked on. So here for this shot I'm copying these, we need to copy these, man, I don't even know what these rock formations are called, and I guess they have a name, right? Like, oh, if I can show the original plate, yeah, absolutely. For this shot, right? Yeah. So, let's see. It's without the rocks and with the rocks. Without and with. It definitely adds a lot of more atmosphere and depth into the misty environment. I think maybe we could like fix a little bit of the silhouette up here and stuff like this, but it would also be interesting to have you know, Roger's notes on it if he had anything like specific in mind. But yeah, nice. Yeah, that's yeah, I like it as well. It's a simple effect with a big impact on the composition, right? So let's see, I had this one, and so let's see how the original looked for this. Oops, I didn't like that. So why? Oh, it doesn't matter. We can watch it here. here. So this is before and after, and the shots are basically, yeah, it's like duplicating these stone formations like all over the place. So it's a lot about like fiddling with the silhouette of these rocks as well. But I think, yeah, I think this one I probably pushed too far in the back, so I'll try to see if I can fix that. So this one, yeah, so if we put that maybe to 75 instead, let's see how that looks. Yeah, I think that looks better, maybe 50. I think 60. 7. Yeah, 7. I think 7 is good. So I'll try to see the other ones. This one as well. Oh, yeah, I'm keying this one. Something like that. So you actually on the last stream we were looking at the chromatic aberration, right? So like this is a shot where the chromatic aberration is super clear compared to the nighttime shot. And again, like you can download like notes on Nukepedia that gives you all these notes in one, so you don't have to like split the color channels manually. So there are notes, you know, that would give you chromatic aberration straight away. But I wanted to keep this project and everything sort of like as Nuke native as possible. So without any external notes, unless it's absolutely necessary or I needed to streamline something. But I think for this project it's really not necessary to have like anything like crazy. So it's quite native, everything that I'm using and the way that I'm doing it. Let's see for this one. I guess this is the last, and it's also keyed in. So I think I will just bring back some of this and okay, so maybe I would have to, I would probably have to do a manual mask for this one. Stencil, just gonna take that out. Chromatic aberration, yeah, it's there. Yeah, the yeah, you mean like in the, yeah, in this shot, it's very clear, right? Like it's crazy, like how prominent it is in this shot compared to the nighttime ones. They are very hard to see. this for now, and put this one to stencil. So let's see. Yeah. And then I think I'll blur that a little bit. A few pixels. Maybe I went too much on that one. 2 maybe? Yeah, that's better. And then, yeah, we can push them this back. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Yeah, maybe it's also a little big, this one. So I'll take this and make it a tiny bit smaller. So I'm just trying to look for like the silhouettes that I don't repeat like any of the stones and patterns, because I basically just clipped out one of the existing ones, and then I've been just changing the roto and making holes in them and stretching them and so on, so like none of them looks the same. But so I'm just taking a look at the other ones that I created, just to make sure that, you know, none of the rocks look similar. And yeah, I think this one, yeah, I think it looks pretty okay. Yeah, maybe it feels a little off here, I guess. I have to move this up a bit. There we go. And then I think I'll do an defocus here. By 1 maybe. Is that too much? I think so. Maybe 1.5. Less. Yeah. I think 1 looks pretty good. And the chromatic aberration. Purple line. I don't know if you can actually see it on the stream. I hope it's clear enough on the stream, but I guess you don't see all the pixels that I'm looking at, I guess. But yeah, I think it is a little bit more green here and a little bit purple on this side, which it has it, but it's very subtle. So I'll try to see if I can push it a little bit more on this one. So I'll see. Yeah. Maybe that was too much. 0.5, something like that. Right? Maybe we can go back a bit. 75. And let's take a look at it while it's moving. Let me just to see if we missed anything, any masks. Alright, while that is rendering, I will run quickly to a bathroom break. And so let's see. Yeah, nobody's writing on Twitch. So yeah, I didn't miss anything. Okay, be right back. So I noticed as I was coming in, there was some black frames here. I didn't notice these before. Looks like I'm missing some frames. So let me have a look. One to 800. Okay, looks like I'm missing some frames. Or yeah. Let me just oh. Broken frames, here we go, from 10 to 17. Okay, yeah, that matches. Okay, I need to fix this. I need to look into it. Look into this. I'll make this extra big so I don't forget. Okay. How can I fix that? You mean the broken frames? Or like it's not reading the like about yeah, like about 7 frames, so it's probably because I'm mixing them, or they are broken in the export, I think. So you can actually also see it here on the file size, right? So like all of them are like 50 megabyte, and then on 10 it goes 31, 31, 31, 31, and then it goes 18 even. So like kilobytes, right? So that's like tiny, tiny, tiny files. So I think something broke here on the export with these frames, and it looks like it's the only ones. So I think it's export issue. I'll probably have to look into that. Like the way we're working with the film, like the film is shot on a red camera, so they need to be exported again. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. So getting red files, raw red files from. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the 6K camera is is called the Raptor. I think it is. I can't remember. This like the let's see, 6K red cam. Oh yeah, of course. This is Komodo actually also shoots in 6K, but I think there used to be a 6K camera before the Komodo. It's called the Red Dragon. But yeah, I don't know. They shot it in 6K. I'm not sure they shot it on the Red Dragon, and also not sure if they shot it on the Komodo. I think there's another one. The Helium is the 8K one, but yeah. So they so we're getting like terabytes of footage, right? That then we have to convert into something that we usually work with in the film industry, which we usually convert it to EXRs. And actually, maybe this is a good one to take up. Man, I wish I had my tablet because drawing with a mouse is crappy. But so like, you know, everybody knows with a JPEG, and then you have PNGs, and then you have other ones. But so basically, JPEGs can only hold a RGB channel, right? Which is basically color channels, right? Red, blue, and green. And then the PNGs can hold an alpha channel, so they hold also colors, RGBA, right? Which is why you can have like transparent images, is when you have like an alpha, right? That's pretty basic stuff. And then so stuff for like TIFF files and EXRs, they can hold all sorts of layers, both of them. So like, let me give you an example. Like, I don't know. So there's something called like vector generator. So what a vector generator would do is actually give you something really cool where it's a layer. Let's say if we wanted to put on like a logo or blood or something like that on his clothes, right? Like in the old days, it would be something super difficult to do because you would have to warp it like frame by frame type thing and make sure it bends with the clothes and everything. But with a vector generator, it actually generates something called like, I think it does like velocity vectors. So it calculates everything that is sort of moving, and then you can use a vector to pass and hide that into an EXR file type. So here you can have like alphas, you know, RGBs. You can have like something called world passes, which is used a lot in 3D, right? Like you can have. So also when you work with 3D stuff, you can have like, you know, there's like normal passes to be able to relight something quite slightly, which is like normal 3D passes. Basically, you can bake all those passes into EXRs, and the EXR file type gets tremendously big, right? But then you can shuffle all these passes out in Nuke. So like, let's say you wanted the vector map that Nuke can generate, but let's say you generated that in some other way, or you can bake it into the EXR file, but then you can like shuffle that layer in and out of the image, right? So you can like mix it in, or you can mix it out of a image file. And that is super powerful in an image type. So that's why, like, usually working with VFX, you always want to work in these image formats, because they can hold so much information for any passes that you need to work with or generate or stuff like that, right? So that's would usually be the normal VFX file type. So you don't need to know the exact model of the camera. You know what? It is true. That's a very good point. Like, for doing VFX, you do like a lens unwrap on like a checkerboard thing, so you know exactly how that lens worked with that camera. And so once there is like lens distortions that is warping like around the image at the end and stuff like that, usually you will see like stretching. So let me do another drawing here. So usually the camera warps warps like, wait, I don't know. Why doesn't it allow me to? Sorry about that. So usually a lens warps like this, right? And they warp differently from lens to lens and on cameras, right? So usually it's important to work or to like know which cameras and lenses you use and how they are warping. But I would say like this is really useful when you are working with, let's say we had to put in Godzilla in here, right? Or King Kong or something, and like there's a big ape here coming in the image or something like that, like coming into the shot. Then it's really important to know, right? Like these then it's absolutely vital actually to get this type of information. But when you're doing sort of like simple VFX like this, where you're just duplicating stuff around, and you can get away with just looking a lot on the image, and especially also when the camera is still, like it is in most of these shots, like the camera is not going to be panning left and right. Having these things coming close to the edge where they will be distorted, right? So again, because it's a locked off camera and there's no like huge CG assets in the film, it's really not necessary to have the camera information, I would say. I hope that made sense. Cool. So let's see. Yeah. I kind of feel like adding one right here. Like I feel like the one sort of started out here, and I think this one could be an interesting one to build. So I think I'll do one more right there, and then I'll probably say that's pretty good for a first version as well. So let's see. I would have to get something here. Do another one. Let's do it like this. Frame. Hold. We're gonna put it in here. There, and let's start cutting off some pieces. I'll probably want different pieces for this one, so I think I'll take like, let's try to see if we can make the most of 3 pieces. It's probably gonna be a very messy big tree branch we're gonna create here, but let's try. Okay, so what's cool is that we have a lot of, again, free assets that we can use from the plate, right? So I'll just take this rock right here, break the silhouette a little bit, and no clip, take it out, and let's start building it already here, just to see how it would end up looking. So then I want to move the piece up here, and so let's scale it down. Just put that piece there. So let's take another piece. Let's take this big one. We merge at here, so we don't affect the other one. I'm not super. Oops. Yeah, I think maybe it'd be fun to continue that tower sort of built. So maybe something like that, and then we can move this one as well, make it maybe something like that. Would that be too distracting or weird? We'll see. We need more pieces. So let's see. Let's take. Let's take something from here. Smaller. I don't know if this will work out, but let's play with it, see what we can get. So I think I'll take the same one. I'm just gonna copy this transform so I don't have to like reposition all the stuff, and then put it into this big one here, so I know they come from the same. Then I'll try to see if I can start building shapes up that makes sense. So yeah, let's copy then. Oops, sorry, my bad. So I'm trying to see if I can like fake a little bit. So this is like quite 2D-ish, right? So I think it's important that we get sort of like some perspective going and like try to cheat a little bit of yeah, like a perspective, right? So I'll see if we can make it sort of look okay-ish with what we got. Oops. Wrong one. Oh. Want this. So I think like I want to try to see if I can fake a little bit of these lines over here. So like strange why sometimes the Okay, I don't know why that doesn't work. That's strange. Oh, it's probably the way it's inheriting alphas in the pipe. But yeah, so what I was trying to say before, like I'm trying to see if I can force, because this platform here feels a little bit 2D-ish, right? Like it's very straight on the camera. So I'm trying to see if I can place this rock to give it a little bit more dimension, and then rocks that are sort of lined up like this, and then have a little bit of a perspective that way. So it feels like there's a more 3D space into the rock placement here, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to see if I can have some fun with it. Yeah. So let's try to copy this one now a couple of times, see what shape we can get out of this. Yeah, I don't want to affect that shape. So yeah, how do we keep building from up here? Maybe something like that. Let's take this one more time. Put it in there. Let's take the same one. Oh, yeah, I need this rock actually, or this transform. Delete this one. Maybe I think I need to, like, this contact point here doesn't feel super believable. The question is, which one is it? No. Let's see. Nope. Nope. That one. So let's move that in a bit. Yeah, maybe with them integrating it a bit will help a bit. So let's see. Also, maybe this one could be maybe just moved a tiny bit. I think it's a little bit too straight. And probably change the silhouette here down here in the end. So just to help with the integration a little bit, I'm just gonna defocus it a bit, and then we have We had a chromatic aberration here that we also did. Let's try to take that in. And that's definitely way too powerful. But let's take it down, so we maybe do 25 instead. Oh, that's actually less than the plate. Yeah, something like that. So I think at the like right here in the script, I'll do like a stencil, or I'll cut out and refine like these, a little bit of the silhouette stuff that I want and don't want. Stuff like that. Maybe we can create like a little hold there, maybe. Maybe also here. And here. Ah, that looks weird. Let's keep it like that for now. I feel like we need another shape on top here. So I'm just gonna take this one. That's kind of funny. Okay, so I feel like it's maybe a little sharp still, so maybe like 2. Maybe 1.5. Yeah, it feels a little better. I think the negative space, so meaning the space between the rock here and here, is a little bit similar in a way, like size-wise. So I think what I would do is to try moving I'd love to move all the pieces. So I'll copy the transform node here, and then I'll move it down to maybe, yeah, something like that. And then see if I can fix these pieces back in here. So I feel like I created a nightmare for myself here with all these transform. Okay, I think we want that way. Then that one there. Don't we have like didn't we have like a flat one somewhere? Is it this one? We can do something like that. And then where's the top one? Right. So I think let's see how that looks. Even such a tiny thing. I'll delete a little bit of this left over here, and I had a hole here. Okay, let's keep it like this. Yeah. And then, yeah, maybe do like a little grade. I feel like these rugs are a little dark, so maybe like point 2 maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Not too bad, not too bad. So let's see, do I have that output on the other one? So I'm just going to do a check here to remove the color, and then I can see the difference between the original plate and everything that I have done, and yeah, overexpose and really see what I have manipulated in the original plate. And this is looking pretty good to me. So re-enable this. Sorry for all my mumbling if you're joining in or if you're watching. Like I'm trying to, yeah, you know, I'm just in the zone working and mumbling to myself mostly. So we have, let's see, I think I forgot to set the right project settings for this, which is problematic, but let's see if it breaks anything. 4K DCP, clamp outside, this is shot 17, shot 1. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good for a first version as well. So I need to fix the missing frames for this shot. I have to look into that. And I'm just gonna check the keying. Here, if it works. Okay, yeah, that's not super good key there. So where is it? Is it? Is it here? Is it this? Yep. Okay, maybe I can be a little more aggressive with the key. There's a little bit of a white edge on the llama. I think also, yeah. Looks like there's something with the grain as well, so I have to change the grain for this one also. Yeah, so it's in the mostly in the movement and the fine hair where the llama comes in. That is like we see a little bit of that edge, like right there. So I'm wondering, yeah, how much we need to. It's a little soft, not it's not great. Oops. Let's see if we can be. Trying to see if I can find like a sweet spot where I don't have to do too much. But yeah, I definitely need. It's not looking good. Yeah, it's because the llama is quite all these bright edges here, so that's why I need to like really. I want something like that. But then I don't get the finer details of it, I think. Let's see how that looks. Yeah. create some hours of work for sure. Okay, I think that's a pretty good point. I'll probably have to do a little bit of edge treatment, or I could move that thing entirely. I can't remember how the llama is walking in the whole, throughout the whole shot. Like, I don't know if they're actually walking through all of it. Okay, they are. So I'd have the same problem. It's at 800 frames. So let's see. Yeah, I need to watch the most of the shot. Make sure I don't create a bunch of problems for myself here. Yeah, so I need to do here as well. So how we have it. Yeah, I see that I have keyed a lot here on all these. So let's see if that will work. Yeah, okay, it's a little aggressive. A little bit visible here on the bright edges, but I think I can maybe do like combine two gears. Maybe, let's see. And we have that one, and that one, was that this one? Yeah, there's a key for it. Same problems. The chromatic aberration is really strong on this one right here, and the llama is sort of like it's walking right through all of that. And was this one? I feel like it got like super pushed back in the background. Oh, I have like is this like an animated fog that I put in there maybe? think I did some. I think I did like an animated mask for this. Yeah, so it's this one. So I think because I think I pushed it really far in the beginning when I was doing some first versions of it. So yeah, now it makes a little bit more sense. And then I think I'll push back again on this, maybe going half this almost. Yeah, that's better. So yeah, I need to really do a fine, good key, which shouldn't be too difficult because basically it's like a very luminescent background, right? So it should be quite easy to do, but I definitely need to do like a bigger operation on the lines and on the mask. But they might have some problems on the brighter areas on the llama and stuff like that. That might take a while to do. Let's see if they keep walking into more. Maybe I'll do like a localized render here, so we don't have to render all of it. Okay, then he sits, he stops here. And, okay, llama moves forward to around that area. And stays there at the very end. Right. Okay. It's probably not the most exciting work, but you know, it's just a chill work stream here. Doing edges. So let's see. How much can we push these things? Can we do something with a prime mat maybe? The thing is, like, I think the cure, a bunch of the cure stuff would have to do, because the cure is good at luminance. Oops. So basically, okay, let's start with this one. If you popping into the stream, I'm sorry if I'm quite quiet, or I'm trying to sort of commentate while I'm work. But yeah, if you're popping in the screen, first time you're seeing the stream, or if you're watching the video afterwards, please just ask a bunch of questions. I think I will be streaming for at least a couple of weeks, but you know, we're having a lot of meetings, and we're trying to sort of put up a small course about the film, and also a little bit more like for directors, maybe how to work with VFX, and just people who wants to get into and know more about VFX, how to work with it, and how to do sort of these sort of cheap VFX or effective VFX, I'd rather call it actually. Maybe we do like a little course on that. We're still trying to sort of set that up together with the director. But I'm very excited to be able to share this stuff and just talk about it, because I feel like every film should actually just, you know, be able to do that. But obviously they can't on big films, Hollywood films, because, you know, they need to safeguard every aspect of the film and let the actors do the promotion of the film and so on. In case, like, let's say, you know, like that is why you have like NDA contracts and stuff like that, right? So most of the time artists can't talk or show any of the work they've done. But when it's small productions, I think it can be super cool to see how some things were actually shot, and, you know, seeing a little bit more behind the scenes, and sort of have it being open to the public, which I think it's I think if I saw myself my younger version, and I would find something like this while I'm studying, or wanted to learn something about VFX of film, I think I would have appreciated something like this. So yeah, so that's why I'm doing it. So yeah, if you're popping in and you're curious about anything film that has to do with film industry, VFX, or anything like that, yeah, don't hesitate to ask in the comments or in the stream, and I'll try to answer the questions the best way I can. I might not hold all the answers, but I have a lot of different experience, so in different areas of film, so it could be insightful for if you're a VFX artist, or if you're filmmaker also. What am I doing here? So let's see. So I got a hard key, soft key, put the keys together, but I am keying the other way around. Let's try to reverse these keys. Yeah, let's see how that looks. Does it look worse? Does it look better? Better or worse? Let's invert it back here. Watch the final. Okay, at least for this, it's not looking too bad. Okay. I might key mix maybe these masks together and animate them, because I think otherwise it's a lot. To roto. Yeah, so let's try to take that. I wrote that in a little bit the other way. Can you talk about the documentary you did in BC? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, that was a really passion project at the time. Like, we arrived in Canada and we needed a place to stay, and then we heard about this art gallery that was taking artists in, and so we just showed up and then asked if they had a place for us to stay, and then we got to live in the gallery, in the art gallery, and we were helping out with like construction stuff and working at the bar and, you know, setting up the shows and stuff like that, and pay a quite cheap rent, and that was just a very cool thing to do. And then Thor, the gallery owner, at the time, he passed away now for like a couple of years ago. I think he passed away maybe actually last year. I can't remember exactly when it was, but he wanted to do a documentary because, and you know, it was so funny because we had no idea how to even start this documentary, and we had no budget, nothing to do it with, and we just got like the cheapest camera, the cheapest sound equipment, and then we just started shooting. And we shot for a whole year, trying to sort of, you know, investigate this art gallery thing. And then it turned out to be so massive, you know, like there was so much behind it that I didn't thought that the documentary was involved in, like environmental movements. They were like behind in supporting local art from the local native people of Canada, and they were protecting a lot of like animal stuff, like the eagle. So they started something called the Eagle Capital, which was so they started counting eagles every winter, and so you would do like a raft, and they will like in the river and count like how many eagles there are, because it was sort of like all the eagles would gather up there because of the salmon. So a lot of organizations involved with salmon and all the animals and all these type of things just gathered at the gallery, and then suddenly, you know, we started interviewing the mayor and these organizations. It was such a huge documentary that we sort of didn't expect to jump into, because when you hear about an art gallery, that's not what you sort of associate an art gallery with. And so it became difficult and interesting to sort of like find the story and the vision for the documentary. But then I think it was quite clear that Vision and Dori, which are the two people that really started the art gallery, the vision they had in the beginning and the philosophies they carried in life and throughout the community. And so it's a very like feel-good documentary, you know, that people and like what a community can do together, basically. And yeah, it was a very, very fun time and a very fun project. And we aired it and different what do you call it, like streaming services in BC, and also we were streaming it on Vimeo. But now we have to renew a lot of those licenses, and I think the streaming terms of have changed for Vimeo as well. So we have to review a bunch of things and renew the deals before we can show it again. But it was a super fun project because, it's weird when you work on huge films, on Hollywood films. You would expect as an sort of, at least for myself, I can only talk for myself, right? So I cannot talk for anybody else, but at least for myself, I think it was exciting to work on huge films in the beginning, but then working on that documentary with no budget and having sort of no idea how to sort of make that documentary was super, super fun. And I think it's one of my most fulfilling work that I've done for sure. Because it had real people you were involved with, the people in the community and the major and, different artists and everything. So it was super, super fun, super fun. I really recommend that as a starting documentary. If you're wondering about doing documentary film work, you can do that on no budget, and then do something locally that is interesting to you, right? If that's nature or art or whatever, you can do something quite good with nothing. It just takes a while. I think it took us 1.5 years to do. And it was a year of shooting and investigating everything about the gallery and interviewing a bunch of people, and also just finding old photos and archives and stuff like this. And then I think it was maybe half a year of post-production. Doing subtitles and all that type of things that you sort of don't expect making a film, right? So also a lot of there was a huge learning curve as well to jump into, because when you make a film, you have to think about which are them sort of where do you expect your main audience to be, right? And what languages they talk, and where it's a very local documentary, so it's very local to BC. So that's why also it's sort of only relevant for those local streaming services or stations that are being watched at that local area. So it's a difficult thing to sort of go more global, right? But I think it can still have a huge impact on the gallery. So at the end of the gallery of the documentary, what happened was that Thor was being so old at the end, he wanted someone else to sort of carry on the flame and still have the same values and vision for the gallery. And I think a lot of people actually wanted to do that, but it was very difficult to find the right people. I think there was a lot of Chinese companies that wanted to buy it because of the structure of the gallery and everything. They wanted to turn it into a restaurant, and there was car dealerships that wanted to buy it just because where it was located and so on. So they were fighting off big, companies and corporations and stuff like this to still have it be a local thing. And so, but I think that a couple bought it now. I think they really did a good job from what I've seen, renovating the gallery and bringing it up to life to its former glory. So I haven't had the chance to see the gallery after Thor, but I would love to go visit the gallery again and talk to the new owners. Yeah, sorry. Sorry about the documentary rant. There was probably a lot of things that was completely unnecessary or irrelevant, but it's I loved it. It was definitely a very passionate thing for me to do, and very different from working on big films, right? So. But yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, I would have to really look into. I have a I have a lot of paperwork to do as well, just to renew all these licenses with the and with the course for this movie and everything. So, this that's kind of like, I think the downside of having your own sort of like company is that you have to do a lot of the paperwork and boring stuff sometimes. But I think like sometimes it's I think it can be intimidating at first, but then as you sort of as you do it, then it becomes more like a second nature type thing. I mean, I still wish that I wouldn't do so much paperwork, but it's necessary for the craft, I think. Well, I think my music is done. Let's put on some other stuff. Another thing about the documentary that I think is interesting is that I think, and I can only speak for myself when I talking about projects, but I think like I almost get the feeling like every project is a little bit like that. Like you kind of have to go a little bit blind into a project. Like you don't, because I think otherwise it's very easy to get overwhelmed. Like when we started the documentary film at the time, I don't think anybody sort of knew the impact it would have, and also the size of it. There was so many unanswered questions that we didn't know, but it's like I'm not sure it would have been easy to jump into if I knew like, oh, this is gonna take 1.5 years to do, and XYZ and this and this and this. It would be like, holy cow, can you actually do that? But then I think I was also working full-time as a VFX artist at the time, so it was a lot of the evening work and a lot of like working in the weekends to do like interviews and stuff like that, right? But I think it was like you just kind of like have to start doing it and then just try to finish it, without having to without overthinking too many aspects of anything, because there will be a lot of work to do, and yeah, I think it's hard to sort of get a proper grasp of all the problems you run into and stuff like that, which is, I think, is also a quality of filmmaking, right? It's all about like problem solving, because like I think a lot of the times once you start, like nothing goes according to plan. I remember. So this is a funny story about the documentary, but like there was we had to do the interview with Thor, and it was like the first interview, and I think that interview lasted for like 3 hours, and Thor didn't really know what to talk about, and so like he started like rambling away on all sorts of stories, and we were like, but you know, who are these people? And you know, it was such a chaotic first interview, and we started laughing during the interview as well, and everything. So like, and we were like, oh my god, we have like 3 hours of footage here, and we don't know where to begin with with all of this, right? So I think we ended up using snippets of some of these things that he was telling, and we just, you know, it's not super hard to like just arrange another interview and stuff like that, right? But yeah, it was funny. Is there something you would have done differently today regarding the documentary? I don't think so. I think it was. I think I would only encourage. You know what we did? It was just like to blindly go into it, and then just, you know, solve it as you go along, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm not sure I would have done anything differently, actually. Oh well, there is. I mean, there is one thing I do regret a little bit with the documentary, and I think, but this is an interesting aspect of filmmaking that also was very new to me at the time. So, when making the film, we sort of finished it and like put it online. We did the deals, and it was like, okay, that was it. And we still thought like, okay, now it's finished, and now we can move on to a next project. I think there was like no time that we put apart for the sort of like promoting the film or talking about the film. And so I think like I would definitely have done that differently. I think like I think we should have like driven around to more places that would be interested in the documentary, just like locally, because like one thing is like to make licenses deals for streaming services, but like you have no control over the analytics or like who's watching and like, you know, where it's like who's interested and all these type of things. So it's like super difficult to get a sense of the sort of the viewership that is watching, right? But I think like it's a little bit like cinema today and streaming, right? Like if you would watch a film on stream or like in the cinema, you could like you could see the reaction of the people if they laugh or cry or get scared or whatever. And like now with streaming, you don't get that feedback, right? Like you could only see sort of like, you know, this many people watched it, but you can't really get the emotional response from the film. And I think it's very, very valuable to go to places in person and show the film in person, just to get that emotional response from the viewer, right? Like to see if they actually liked it or hated it, like in person, because like it's I think it's a small aspect that has disappeared over the years. So I think I would have done more to drive around and showing it to people in person. Yeah. Yeah, sorry for that long answer. Okay, I think that's looking... It's looking promising. So let's have a look at... I think we had another one here. So let's see. I don't know if I missed any questions on Twitch at all. Actually, I haven't checked. No, so there's only... Seems like only bots join Twitch chat. It seems like YouTube people drop in and out, which is yeah, interesting. Okay, I think the edges are looking much better with a little bit of a key mix, but and then animated between like two different keyers, right? As the llama is passing by, so now we don't get like those. There's a little bit of a bright edge, but I think that's okay as well. Like we even have those bright edges like down here where we're not doing anything, right? So I think it's okay. Might have to improve it a bit more in the future. So let's see. I think it walks up here in the front for this one. Let's see if we can use a little bit of the same setup for this one over here, there. So this one is this. Okay, I have that. Let's delete this for now. Let's take this. Put it here. So that's one key. Oh yeah, so this one's inverted. Let's do a little, see how the edges are looking. Still a little bit rough, but much better than before. See if we need to key mix in the other mask. Yeah, it's a little rough. It's a little rough. Something like here. Let's see if we maybe kicks in. Let's see. I think that's better from, it was like this, that, and then I think I had these rotor shape here, might add them in here as well, just to not influence any of that here. So let's say we do stencil. Flip. Like, oh, what? Why is it? Oh, I have like a inverted mask here. That's why. So if we invert it here, and then this is black. There we go. Yeah, now we are not affecting the llama in those areas. Is there such a thing like a favorite CG artist? Yeah, there is. I think, yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember when I was at school, we were like, I would have like favorite, what do you call it? Like concept artists and stuff like that, right? Like that would do like very inspiring artwork. But it would usually actually be mostly like concept artists that would do like 2D images, right? Because I think it's a good question, because like I think like CG artists, I guess, for most of the time, I don't think you would ever associate a CG artist specifically with a shot, or because they don't get like any like credit, I guess, in a way, right? Like I would love to know like who did like a lot of the effects on Forrest Gump or something like that, you know, like a lot of these invisible VFX shots. And I think at most you would probably just talk to you hear the supervisors talk about it, like VFX supervisors, but not the actual artist. I think they're pretty hard to find, just because they're never really associated with the shots and the work to begin with. But concept artists get to, you know, you can look up like a lot of the concept art for anything, for any movie and any game, and you would find like the concept for Halo or, you know, whatever, Lord of the Rings or whatever, you know, and then you can like find the artist who painted those concepts. But yeah, it's a good question. I never thought about that, like looking at having like a favorite CG artist. Yeah, good question. So to answer it shortly, I don't think so. I think those poor bastards lives in the shadow, you know. so they don't. Yeah, I don't think they are known. I'm trying to think about. Yeah. Yeah, I guess like most supervisors maybe, or. But I guess just times are changing a little bit too, right? In that regard, I think there's a lot of like great YouTube channels that are making like Corridor, right? I think it's pretty big. It's a pretty big YouTube channel that reaches out to VFX artists, and so I'm sure like a lot of those they're like famous for the videos and breakdowns and whatnot, so like they so it's a different thing, but yeah, not for movies. Okay, I think it's looking pretty. That it's looking much better without having to do too much work. A little bit more refining at some point, but I think it's watchable without having my eyes bleed. Okay, there's a little bit of like white lines when the guy passes by with a rope on this one. So like, yeah, you see it? It's very subtle. And a little bit with the llama as well. But I think this one specifically I have not keyed yet, I think. Is this one? Yeah, exactly. So we haven't done this setup for this, so let's do that here and see if we're lucky. We're not, so we have to do some adjustments here. So we keep it on the B. Now you know what, I think that one. Oh, it's because it's inverted again. So let's invert this back. A little weird. Blur. Will that work? I think it's gonna look strange. Yeah, you see this huge, soft mask coming in. if you just joined the stream, welcome in. And yeah, this is basically just a work stream. It's just me working on this indie film made in Peru. And yeah, so it's not like a tutorial stream or anything like that. It's actually just hanging out and sharing stories, or yeah, having a little bit of educational, so you know, like it's not like super advanced compositing or anything like that, but it's I like to keep the conversation sort of open to, like, if there's any questions to like VFX stuff or documentary stuff, or yeah, like anything film related. It's fun to talk about. Can even talk about movies. Doesn't have to be anything that I worked on. It could be, you know, the great films that just came out or something like that. I don't know if you guys have watched The Substance, but I just recently watched it, and it was wow, what a great film. It was very disturbing to watch, but a great movie. So yeah, we can talk about anything. It's just a chill work stream here. See how I can work these edges out a bit. I think they're a little bit too harsh here, so I like to soften them up a bit. So you are like an invisible artist. Yeah, exactly. I think in a way we are, right? Like I think, you know, I think yeah, it's funny with new films, like how obvious VFX is, right? Like, and what is called, I think a lot of people call like bad VFX films when they see something that is very obviously VFX, right? Like, and yeah. Oh, sorry, my camera ran out of battery. Let me switch the battery on the camera. Is the camera working? Yeah, it is. Okay. So that could be another documentary, The Bastards and the Shadows. Yeah, exactly. I mean, could be like The Poor Bastards and the Shadows, right? Yeah, that would be a great VFX documentary. But yeah, no, absolutely. I think like great VFX work is, you will never notice it, right? Like you will never see it. And then yeah, like and then you have VFX that is very obvious when you have Transformers flying around, or anything like Marvel stuff, right, with spaceships and aliens and all these type of things. And but it's also interesting, right? Like to think about why sometimes it could feel quite fake, right? Like I think it's a struggle that I don't think the VFX industry even has a proper answer to, because like when you think about the old Star Wars movies, right, when they sort of invented a lot of this tech that we're using now, like blue screens and this and that for composite shots, and you know, it's crazy to think about like those shots still hold up super well, right? And they was just using models, toy models for a lot of the spaceships and stuff. But sometimes you see a spaceship in a film and it's like, oh yeah, it's very clearly CG, right? Because it gets maybe overly complicated and detailed. And I think the camera work also has to do a lot with it, right? Sometimes the camera gets to fly around in crazy speeds and gets to be everywhere, and sometimes I think it breaks the sort of the reality of a film, right? Because I think everybody is sort of used to see a camera movement and these type of things. So I think it's a combination of a bunch of things that you have to keep in mind when making a film, right? But I would say if the effects are invisible, which they are a lot of the time, then it's great VFX, you know. And then unfortunately yeah, you have like bad VFX even on huge Marvel films with just like bazillions of I mean, which have like a huge budget, right? Like you see a super bad green screen all of a sudden, or bad explosion or something, and it's just, you know, it just gives you a little bit of a perspective. A lot of the Marvel films, I think they're above like 2,000 shots per of the film are like, it's like 90% of the film, and or 95% of the film is like does require some type of VFX. And I think also they're like, it gets thinned out too much, you know, like it gets like, because like you know, you need a lot of time for each shot to make it look good. And then if there's just like one shot where the green screen or blue screen or something wasn't they didn't have enough time to spend on it, then it will stand out from the rest of the film. So it's also kind of punishing, right? Like when you work on these massive films. But yeah, there's a lot of components that goes into that, all that stuff. Yeah, but I get it. Good CG is something you don't notice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, this is great. Little this is great little video on YouTube about compositing. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's called I think it's the art of VFX. Yeah, VFX games. So when I teach at places and stuff like that, I love to sort of share this video. Just because it's a good example of a 3-minute example of how much work can go into all of this. Oh, what is this?
And is built from many parts in a long pipeline that creates something amazing. And that's what you see on the big screen. The last role in this,
so I don't know if you've seen it, but it's a great little video.
Digital compositing, which is a creative process of assembling filmed and rendered elements from multiple sources to create a final lifelike illusion. What is that, you ask? Let me show you. It's a profession that includes many skills such as rotoscoping, which separates the foreground from the background, and there are all kinds of techniques to accomplish it. In films, it is common to use a blue or green screen to easily remove the background from behind the actors, and that is called keying. And by doing that, we can create a more realistic background behind the actor. Tracking is another side of the story, and it is very important to know how to do well. There's 2D tracking, and there's 3D tracking, which recreates the exact movement of the camera. Another big part of this job is to remove objects, cables, and trackers, and paint them out and insert something else instead. And, of course, there is computer-generated elements, or, in short, CG compositing. Yeah, but my friends always say VFX looks fake.
So basically, yeah, it's a great little video where they, you know, show like how much VFX was actually in this, right? That you'd never really notice, and yeah, that goes to, you know, prove the point that, you know, I think VFX is invisible for a lot of the time, and you only sort of, your eye sort of really only catches it when you see something that is obviously had to be put in there, like the robot, right? But yeah, it's interesting. I think it's a great 3-minute video. It's a lot of information and a lot of impact in a short amount of time. Oh yeah, you've seen it? Yeah, it's a good video. There's talking about documentaries and all that stuff. It's actually like also a little it's a little documentary film. I don't know if you watched it as well, but it gives you sort of a little bit of a, I would say, a little bit of a history to the VFX industry. Oh man, what is that one called? I'm trying to remember. Is it called like VFX? Oh, it's called Hollywood Greatest Trick. I don't know if it's available anywhere or anymore. Maybe it's not. It's been a... Oh yeah, okay. I found a link here. So this one. Yeah, it's called Hollywood's Greatest Trick, and it's a great little documentary. It's a short documentary, 24 minutes. The sort of really pretty much explains...
Do you remember where you were?
The VFX industry, you know, and like sort of the history of it, and where a lot of the things have, how it has evolved, and what it's been, and why it's a tough industry to get into as well, right? Like there's a lot of horror stories and scenarios that have sort of happened with studios, right? Like I think they explain it in this documentary. I can't remember if they explained what happened to the Oscar-winning film Life of Pi. Do you remember that film? So I think there was like a couple of thousand VFX artists working in India. Yeah, so they show it there, I think. But I think they talk about it here in the documentary. But like basically, as the directors and supervisors were receiving a Oscar for best visual effects, they shut down the studio in India, and I think a lot of those artists didn't really get paid for a lot of for some months, and yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that those things can happen, right? And but I think also it's kind of also like I would say probably one of the worst case scenarios within the industry, right? What happened to Life of Pi, right? But it's interesting. I would definitely recommend, anyone who's interested in VFX also to just watch this. It's a little bit of a, what do you call it? Like I guess it would scare you off from the industry. But again, like not all studios and not all projects are like this, right? But this is kind of like when you're working with a sort of the biggest of the biggest, and what problems the VFX industry is facing, right? Like it's because it's also a problem that sort of relates. It's like a triangle. So it's like let me paint it here. So like a lot of the problems that appear in the industry is like 3 points, which is the client, right? And then you have the artist as well. Artist, and yeah, I guess this would be maybe the companies or the studio. Companies. And so like each of these 3 things have like 3 different goals and are sort of a part of a bigger problem, right? So because the artists are willing to work for nothing, and the companies need to do sort of impossible work in no time, and then a client that also for the most time don't understand the industry, right? And so like hitting a sweet spot is super hard, and that's why like a lot of the times projects are like it doesn't require much, I guess, for in either of those 3 variables in order to sort of like for things to go wrong, right? But it's a great documentary. Give it a watch if you feel it's interesting to sort of know about. It gives you a little bit of a perspective. But again, it's not. I would also say I think the industry has changed a lot since that little documentary was done, but it gives you a good perspective of the history and what has happened in the industry before. And now we are facing completely different issues, right? Like now we have like stuff like AI and replacing a lot of the artists and like nobody sort of really knows or feels safe with their work right now. But this is interesting to think about, like where AI will sort of take things from here, right? But yeah, I think like the whole AI topic is, it's a whole nother beast to talk about. Right, so got completely distracted. So now I'm trying to find my way back to what I was doing. Get this one. I think it's looking pretty decent. Yeah, for sure. Have you seen that other one. It is the Hollywood's greatest trick. That's looking pretty good. Let's check the back legs here. Oops. Smashed my keyboard. Yeah. Yeah, it's a interesting little documentary. Yeah, yeah. It's true. I should actually watch it myself. It's been, oh yeah, it's been many years ago since I watched the Hollywood's Greatest Trick as well. It's a good reminder of. I think they explain a lot of things there pretty well. I think that's looking pretty good. I feel still like there is a little bit of a bright edge, but I think it's the chromatic aberration is so strong on this rope. It really stands out a lot. Let me see if we can remove this. Because I almost don't see like the white edge on this, but I guess it's just the chromatic aberration, which is the light hitting the back of the rope and then splitting the channels, right? Makes it really pop out a lot. Yeah. When making a film, would you prioritize practical effects over CGI? Practical. Yeah, practical versus CG. Yeah, it's. I think it really depends. I mean, I think for the most time, practical would always be the best, right? Like, I think it would always look better. It really depends also on the practical, right? Because you can also have like very, very obviously bad dolls or puppets that doesn't look well also. But I think for the most time, practical always looks great. But I think the best is always like a combination of the two. Because it helps the CG to have a reference point also, right? So let's say if you let's say there would be, like, if he would be bleeding or the llama would be bleeding or something like that, then it's great to have something practical because then you already have something to match up against and to then add a bunch of things, right? So And so there's also benefits, and there's benefits to the CG because you can sort of change it a little bit as you go, right? So let's say you film something practical. The disadvantage is that, you know, if it doesn't look good and it doesn't sell the effect, then you might need to replace it completely anyway with something else, right? So you have to believe it as you see it. And then, yeah, and if it doesn't work out with the practical, then you might have to recreate everything in CG anyways, right? So it's a tricky balance, but I think for the most part, as like the general rule of thumb, I think practical is you get a lot of stuff for free, right? Like you don't have to worry about the lighting and rendering and compositing and, you know, masking and doing all the stuff that is required for the shot to work, right? So yeah, so I think it really depends. It really depends what it is. Like, let's say the graffiti is actually a good example where VFX will be better, or like, you know, CG will be better. Like in that art of VFX video, where, you know, he's walking and then they have like different like brands and logos on the cars and the walls. They have like graffiti on the walls and all that stuff. Like that would also take like a long time to do practically, and then you would probably get in trouble if you were doing that like on actual walls and cars, right? And you don't notice it anyway when you do it in VFX. So I think like in that particular area, it's a good example where I think CGI is great. I think a lot of the time where you compare practical with VFX is when you're doing a comparison to a monster or something like that, right? Where it's something that is very, very obvious that is full VFX or like CG, and then something that is like a practical puppet of a monster or something, or alien, because then you have the two to compare it to, and for the most part, the practical will always look good, right? But I don't think that's the case for. It really depends on the effect, right? So yeah. But yeah, it also depends like how complex some things are. Like if you have a very flexible alien that is like jumping around and flying around and all these type of things, it's super hard to do practical, right? But have you seen that Nope movie? That's super cool film. Let me see if I can find a trailer. But I think the VFX for that movie is fantastic and super beautiful as well, because they really went quite artistic with some of the stuff. Is this one? Let's see if I can pull it up here.
Tell me when you see it.
There. That cloud doesn't move.
But like here they have like a very obvious like alien, right? Like you can't really do practical, and oh, man, what's these pop-ups? And yeah, the VFX was, I think, phenomenal for this film. And there's probably so much VFX in this that you don't really realize as well.
It's too quiet to be a plane.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of invisible VFX.
Oh yeah.
Oh, maybe you want to show.
It took them all.
But I mean, look at that shot, right? Like was an amazing shot. Like it was, that must be, you know, hard to do practical. Probably you could do something in a miniature type thing if it's very well planned, right? But I think like this looks amazing for CGI, right? You don't really notice it or think about it. Yeah, sorry. I apologize again for my very long answers. Going off a rant. Yeah, I think that looks good for the ones in the beginning, and I think I might have to tweak this one here a bit, or at least, did we? I think I already did it, but I'm just gonna double check just in case. I'm just having a look at the list just to see which shots I have to jump into. Yeah. Yeah, the mask is a little rough. It's a little chunky, but you know, now it's not popping out like directly when you watch it in motion, right? There's a little bit of an edge, but yeah, it's definitely some edge work that I need to work on for these. Yeah, I think it's looking much better. Let's see. Try to see if I can remove this line a little bit more. Okay, let's see. Some weird noise movement and on this. I'm wondering if I'm doing something to the noise. Okay, yeah, I'm doing something here. Oh, yeah, it's gonna kill this. I wonder why I did that. Oh, yeah, it's because there's no noise in the whites. So I think it's very probably obvious with the noise or the grain. Still a bit of an edge. So let's see. I think I want to try to mix it over to mix this. It's not looking too bad with the head, but then I don't like once we get these edges here. Yeah, let's try to see how that looks in movement. But yeah, I would have to yeah, let's do a little mix here. So I'm gonna say the keyer. Actually, I think I need this one. Oh, sorry. I think music stopped. Or we were watching a couple of things, I guess. Right. Now we have it walking in here. Let's make this darker. Then erode in the edges a little bit. Something like that. Is that better? Let's try. Maybe not as aggressive. Bring back a little bit of detail. Blur it a little bit. Maybe 0.5. Yeah, this is him. Let's see. It's definitely too aggressive. The skier here. So let's take a look at this. Invert it. Then invert this one as well. Yeah, let's try taking these two. Okay, and then if we maybe just H blur. Two maybe. Let's see how that looks. Right. Invert screen. Okay. Let's take that and put it as a mask here. Stencil. There we go. So this one is a little bit too aggressive, so we need to go back. This and that. Okay, let's treat this one as a. This one is soft. This one is core. Let's route that like that, and then go inwards. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna take a little bathroom break. Be right back. All right. Um, okay, Edith, I don't know if you're still there, but I just seen your message. But yeah, let's. I'll have a look at it after the stream. See if we can make something work. Hello, you there? Great. Yeah, I just saw your message. So yeah, I'll have a look at it after the stream. Thanks for staying in so long for the stream also. Okay, so it's this one needs to be less, has some less pixels. There we go. And then C. Oops. Okay, I think it works. No, it doesn't. It's not great. I really don't want to use like a edge extend on this, but well, we have to. let's see. So if I have to break this out, yeah, I guess I could see if I can. We have that there. Let me make that the source. We take maybe this mat. Or this. So function can be. I didn't like that. Couldn't find this function. It's here. Couldn't find function incapable image copy 0. Really? Okay, I might have to check up on this. Why it's not working. Right. Then we don't do that now then, I guess. Yeah. Maybe take this one in, something like that. Look at all that stuff. Right, so the only one that is a little tricky is this, but it's weird that I can't get the edge extend to work, because that's incoverable image. Yeah, look into it. Yeah. some negative space there. It looked weird for a second. Yeah. That looks better. Yeah. Yeah, that looks much better now. Still some fine hair and edges that I need to look into, but it's looking much better now. So let's see. Hello to anyone who just joined the stream. We're actually just I'm about to end the stream in 15 minutes, but in case you're curious about the project or VFX stuff or film related stuff, feel free to just ask any questions and I'll try to answer as good as I can. I don't get to sort of share work a lot or ever, so it's a pretty unique opportunity for this with this indie project to be able to share some of the VFX and stuff like that. So yeah, feel free to ask anything. Feel maybe like these stones a little dark, so I'll see if I can brighten it up a little bit. Three. I think I did a little bit of a mist layer for this shot. If not that I think I did something here to have this work as a mist on top of all the stones, because we have like some I think we have some, I saw it at the end here. We have some clouds and atmosphere sort of pushing in between some of these stones, so we want to try to sort of mimic that. Yeah, it's like value changes from the different rock formations a bit. think I have them actually for all the rocks apart from the last one, so I'll take that mist, just let that pipe here, and I'll slip it in probably here, and I do a on pre-malt here, and yeah, that gives a little bit of that mist stuff, but I think it's way too strong. It needs to sort of work with the stones around it, but yeah, I think that helped a little the brightness of the stone as well. So keep it like that. Let's see, I should probably render this one out also as a first discussion. So we have it as well. This is shot 32. I don't think I've done a version of this before. Yeah, let's just render this out. Oh, did everything freeze? Am I still on YouTube? I'm not sure. I might actually wait. Sorry, I think the stream got cooked up. I don't know if you guys can still hear me or see the stream. I think it might have been the trying to export the shot. I think it sort of probably took a lot of my CPU. Okay, yeah, I see that Twitch is back on, so, and I don't know about YouTube. Yeah, okay, yeah, okay, good. Yeah, sorry about that. I should probably wait till the rendering out the shots and until after the stream. Good to know. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah, I'll just wait. All right, but I think I'll probably just end the stream here, and then I'll have some I have the look at the message you sent there, Edith, and yeah, I can have a look at all that stuff, and also have a bunch of paperwork to look at. So yeah, we just keep it here, I think. So yeah, thank you so much for joining in. I'll end the stream here, and yeah, if you're somehow watching the final part of the video, sorry, I got sort of choked up there as I was rendering. Should probably wait with that next time. But yeah, we're working on an indie film called Basilio y el Mar. Sort of just doing a work chill stream where we sort of just share stories and interesting, yeah, VFX stuff and filmmaking stuff. Anything related to that, yeah, feel free to ask questions in the future. In the future streams, yeah. So I think I just end it here. So see you in the next one. Thank you so much for joining.